Hey, what is up, YouTube boxing family? It is K right here. I am back with another good video for y'all today, and I wanted to come out with a video to possibly talk about the Erickson, Lubin, and Fundora post-fight thoughts. This is a possible claim that I'm not too sure if I could be right on, but I figured that I give it a shot and talk about it with Lubin and Fundora with the fact of the fight itself. And I'm not the one to be a conspiracy theorist, but I guess I will pose a question on this video to talk about could Lubin have cheated Erickson Lubin, or could Fundora could Sebastian Fundora possibly cheated Erickson Lubin? And here's the reason why. Fundora, he's not that much of a big puncher, and I will credit him for getting his victory. But when you look at all the knockouts that he's had, they were all referee stoppages, if not most of them. Fundora is not a big knockout puncher. He doesn't really present that much, how should I say, threat to anybody, to anybody with his, fighting style, until he actually catches you with something big and then he's able to hurt you. But he really doesn't be putting dudes lights out like that big. And I think, the biggest issue is just that Erickson Lubin, he took a lot of, unnecessary punishment in this fight itself that made the fight really, really bad on his behalf. And I guess that's why, that the sweet science is supposed to be heavily respected. But here's the problem. Erickson Lubin has never been hurt like this before in his career. And I think the biggest issue is that Sebastian Fundora, he doesn't really punch as hard as many people try to say he does. And I mean, credit, you did drop Lubin, but that drop itself was to a punch that Lubin didn't see, because Lubin was eating a lot of shots, and Fundora could have easily knocked him out a lot earlier, definitely prior to the knockdown that he had in round two. And Erickson Lubin, he was landing some heavy shit onto Fundora. See, now, I don't know what happened with the pre-screening of this fight. I would hope that this fight had screening on both angles, where we get to see the hand wraps being wrapped legally, and there wasn't any form of cheating. But let's just say if there was cheating, let's just say if it came from Fundora's end, Fundora has never beat anybody like that to the point where their faces get crushed or their faces are just brutally destroyed. And I mean, credit to Lubin being a warrior, but this is not the Erickson Lubin that we're used to seeing, where he just come forward, and he's just trying to beat you at at your own game, playing this rock'em sock'em robot, which I don't like that out of Erickson Lubin. If anything, Erickson Lubin, he's really not that type of dude to really put himself in a position like that to really hurt his, body like that. But I personally believe, that the issue with him is just that he's always there to get hit with something that is heavy or just light shots being thrown at him. And I think, what could possibly debunk this potential case would be, Fundora, he was landing some heavy, repetitive shots on Erickson Lubin. And the thing about Lubin is that he's never been in that position to really get hurt super duper bad, but, to a point where, it may look like he's going to get knocked out. That's really never happened in quite a while. And I guess, due to his last 6 fights, that he had, a mega win streak on, leading up to the Fundora fight, I mean, he has been hurt in almost every single fight. And I mean, that's pretty natural for any fighter to go through. I mean, Fundora is not invincible to the point where, leading up to his fight with Erickson Lubin, he looked absolutely spectacular. Because even in his last fight with Sergio Garcia, he was giving him hell. He was giving him problems. But Fundora, he barely did enough to actually win, because Garcia was pressing him, so early to the body, and he was basically using his upper body movement to give Fundora so many issues, to the point where he wasn't really able to land that much success on him. So I mean, that's why so many of those rounds were very controversial to the point where many would say Garcia won that fight. So I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I kind of do believe that this could have been a setup because if it, honestly, if you think about it, Erickson Lubin, he's never been banged up like that, and he's never really been in that much issues with Kevin Cunningham. And I don't really know too much about their actual chemistry and relationship together. But the thing about Erickson Lubin is that he is very dedicated to his craft and game as a fighter, where he does try to do the best he has to do. And I mean, he does actually study the game enough to the point where he actually does his best to actually try to win. But the problem that I have with this is that all of a sudden, with Kevin Cunningham, you just don't listen to your coach and you don't come out with a cool head wanting to be successful, because now this is actually like a bad look on Lubin. But the thing about Fundora is that Fundora's style, was supposed to be defeated by Lubin's style. And I think the problem was that this fight itself had so many questions behind it, because Fundora does not hit people like that hard to the face. Even with his war with Sergio Garcia, he was not hurting Garcia with those heavy-ass punches, and Garcia's face was perfectly fine. But for some odd reason, Erickson Lubin had a huge swelled-up face looking like, some weird-ass monster from, the movie, that one movie that was made back in the day, The Hills Have Eyes, right? Yeah, that's basically what Lubin's face, actually looked like. And I mean, no disrespect to Erickson Lubin, he's a tremendous fighter, and I have nothing but love and respect for him. But the problem is that this fight did not look normal. It kind of looked like Fundora had something that was not on the up and up, and I'm not too sure if Fundora was possibly juicing, to which I don't think he did, because he looked pretty natural coming into the fight. Other than, he doesn't look like he's built for 154. It kind of looks like he's more built to be like a light heavyweight, or if anything, heavyweight, because Fundora, he's a big-ass motherfucker. And I mean, you could easily put him at the super middleweight division or the 175 division, in which he could easily make a lot of, noise, in those potential weight classes. But the thing is that this fight itself did not look, fair. And there was something fishy behind this fight. Lubin's team didn't really come in with like a proper, with like the proper mindset and the equipment needed to basically treat his his facial injuries that he had dealt with Fundora. And I thought the swelling on his face and shit, definitely didn't do him any justice. And Fundora was basically able to get so many shots off because Lubin, he got defeated to the punch, and he was not listening to his corner. But I don't know, taking a look at the damages that Fundora took. His face looked perfectly fine, but to Lubin's face, it kind of looked like Lubin just, he wasn't, basically, mentally there, in the fight, as Fundora just took him to deep waters, and then he just started making Lubin slow and just, learning those punches in more and more. But, those punches just didn't look natural. They kind of looked like, Fundora had some, unknown power to the point where his punches were just crushing Lubin's face. And I don't want to think that Fundora cheated, but I'm just curious of how did Fundora had all that punching power to actually hurt Lubin's face that bad. But look at his other previous fights with Sergio Garcia and Jorge Cota and that African dude, the Hasim Abdullah, whatever, guy that guy that he's that African dude that Fundora fought, I think. Oh wait, actually no, he fought Nathaniel Gallimore, I think, prior to COVID, but still, if you look at all three of his last three fights, Fundora was not beating dudes' faces up, and their faces weren't crushed. And at least they had decent punch resistance to the punches to be like, okay, he's not really doing anything bad to me. He's just tagging me with some shots that, that I'm that I'm getting hit with, but it's not like punches that are like, super duper deadly punches. And it's like, Sebastián doesn't even look like he's sitting down on his punches a lot. So I don't know. I think, leading up to his next fight, which that could very well be Jermell Charlo or Brian Castano, but if either, theoretically, if those two leave and move up in weight after their undisputed showdown, I think Fundora and Tony Harrison, they're going to end up fighting each other. And I think that's going to be a more telling fight out of, the true power of Fundora's punches, because I just don't really see Fundora really be hurting dudes like that. And, I guess, to probably even counter my claim, Lubin just took too many unnecessary blows to the point where he was just basically hurt, his face was just basically being broken down more. And I can definitely see why, Kevin Cunningham said, nah, dude, fuck it. I never seen you this hurt before, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know, I kind of believe that there was something fishy behind closed doors. I think that, there could have been some fix-in where maybe Lubin kind of got paid money to take a dive or some shit, or maybe somebody out of Lubin's team basically just didn't want to take care of his facial injuries that he was dealing with. And maybe his team basically devised like a backstabbing setup where Lubin wasn't really able to be trusted. So I don't know, I'm not really the one to really talk about these things, because boxing is such a crooked sport to the point where we really don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But I would really hope that Fundora's team did not cheat, and I think that they did not cheat. That's what I'm thinking deep down inside my heart, but something in the back of my head is telling me that something evil happened between these two. And I'm not too sure if Lubin and Fundora got bad blood with bad blood against each other. And I don't want to think that that their rivalry really got this heated to the point where Fundora wanted to do something dirty to him. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. So I mean, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Fundora cheated against Erickson Lubin, or do you think that this fight was fair and square, and the commission and everybody that was trying to screen this fight did their job? As many people try to claim that shit to be true, knowing that commissions always allow cheaters to walk in and walk out clean out of the sport, in which they need to get their asses killed for that shit. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not calling Fundora a cheater, but I like to see some probable proof to show that this is a clean fight and Fundora didn't have any means to try to hurt Lubin, if not possibly kill him, because, you know, the man has a family to go back to, but it's like with Fundora, you have like your dad, you have your sister, but that's about it. You don't really have a family like Lubin does, and he has to go back to his son. But, you know, let's just say if Fundora killed Lubin out of some weird shit, for something to the level of Lubin just passing away to some, you know, internal damages that he had taken from the fight, and his body just basically just gave up and he just ends up dying, that would be very, very sad. But there'd be so much controversy on Fundora now, because this isn't a Patrick Day versus Charles Conwell fight. This is like a more bigger fight that is closer to the world title level. So the problem that I really have is just that, you know, if Fundora didn't cheat, then okay, fine. Lubin got his ass whipped and he did not utilize any instructions from Coach Cunningham to be disciplined heading into that fight, in which I can definitely agree. But if that wasn't to be the case, and let's just say that there was some dirty shit being put, put into this fight, then I think Fundora definitely needs to be, you know, prosecuted, and he needs to definitely see himself behind, you know, closed, basically, he definitely needs to be, you know, arrested, and he needs to be dealt with legal charges. But I don't think that's, like, you know, that's really needed to be the case, because it doesn't seem like he did. But I just figured that I put that video out here just to see if that's a possible case. So yeah, I will see you guys later, and have a good day, and peace out.